In this video, I'll show you how to get 10,000 leads with just a Slack message. It's that simple. Type something like, get me 10,000 CTOs in the US, and the bot does the work for you. Within minutes, you'll have a list of names, LinkedIn URLs, and job titles, all without lifting a finger. But finding the right leads isn't just about searching CTO. You need to dig deeper into the world of corporate titles, understanding all the different ways companies name their technical leaders, and catching every possible variation that could match what you're looking for. Simple searches miss too many people. That's why we're letting AI do the heavy work for us. Quick heads up, if you haven't seen part 1 where we built the AI agent in Slack, check that out first. Link will be in the description below. Each video adds something new to your bot. In this video, you learn 3 main things. First, how to make your bot understand exactly who you're looking for, using AI to catch all these different job titles automatically. Second, we'll set up a search system that finds way more LinkedIn profiles than you'd ever get manually. And third, you'll learn how to save everything in a database so you never lose a lead. I will give you all the templates, but copying and pasting won't get you there. Instead, I'll show you the small but crucial tweaks that makes everything work together perfectly. Right now, we'll start with the basics, names and LinkedIn URLs. But in part 3, we're taking this to a whole new level by teaching the bot to read LinkedIn profiles and get all the details automatically. Let's dive in.
Let's head back to our workflow. If you followed part 1, link will be in description, you will recognize where we left off. First, find that Wikipedia tool we added last time, and let's delete it because we won't need it anymore for this lead generation agent. Instead, we're going to be building another tool that we're going to be linking. So let's use the call N8n workflow tool, and let's rename it to get LinkedIn URLs. And here we're going to be doing the same. This tool is going to need a description. So it's just a simple description that's going to allow the AI agent to find it, to use it. So this is important because it's like a prompt that's going to be added to this flow. So we'll be doing use this tool if the user is looking for leads. For example, get me CEOs of startups in the UK. And next we need to find our workflow. So for that, let's first create it. So just save, and in your N8n workflow, just click on add new. All right, so this is going to be an execute workflow. So it's going to be called from another one, from the AI agent workflow, and let's name it here, get LinkedIn URLs. Save, and now let's go back to the AI agent. Let's reload. All right, and now we're going to find it in the database. So just in the list, you're going to find it here. Okay, so here we're not allowed to have spaces, so I'm just going to add underscore between each word and save. So before we move on, I'm just going to change this AI agent from a conversational agent to a tool agent, just because it's better for these kind of use cases. And I'm going to add to it a prompt. So in here, I'm going to add a system prompt in which I'm gonna give it the instructions and the tools that it will have access to. So I already prepared the prompt. I'm just gonna paste it, and you will have access to it in the description as well. So the prompt says, you are a lead generation agent designed to find business contacts efficiently. Your primary role is to find business leads based on role, location, and number requirements. You have access to one tool, get LinkedIn URLs, find business contacts based on job type, CEO, founder, etc., location, and number of leads. When you have all 3 parameters, you use get LinkedIn URLs with the parameters. When parameters are missing, ask for the missing information conversationally. Example, user says 3 CEOs in the UK. The assistant will respond with, I'll find 3 CEO leads in the UK for you. Use the get LinkedIn URLs with the CEO, UK, and 3. So just tells the agent which tool to use and with which parameters to use it. So I'm just going to copy this prompt, and in the AI agent, I'm gonna just paste it. Save, and now we're gonna go back to the LinkedIn URLs, and it needs a response. So this AI agent node requires a response for it. So let's do that. So we're just gonna do a set, and here we're gonna do response, and for now we're just gonna do OK. Save, and we can go back to our AI agent and ask for leads. So get me the CEOs in the US. So like before, it says So it's called our tool right now, even though there is nothing, because our tool is set to OK. It assumes that our automation has worked. So we have found 3 CEOs in the leads in the US for you. If you need more information or additional leads, feel free to ask. All right. So first thing, I'm just going to get rid of this automated with this N8n workflow. So for that, we need to go back to the AI agent workflow, and in the init message, just go to add option, include link workflow, and set it to false. And I'm going to do the same thing for the final message. All right. So now I know that the workflow works because it's called the exact tool that it needed to call, and we can see that in the logs. So I'm just going to go back to the execution that worked. All right, and you can see here that it did call the get LinkedIn URL tool. Okay, now let's work on the LinkedIn URL tool to actually make it actually get us some LinkedIn URLs. So I'm just going to go back to the get LinkedIn URL workflow, and I'm going to copy to the editor the last workflow so that I can have something to work with. So here I have the last message, and we can start working on the workflow. Okay, so when the execute workflow is triggered, we have in the query what the AI agent sent, which is in this case 3 CEOs in the US. I could use this to directly scrap Google and get the leads that I need, but I want it to be smarter than this. And I want, for example, for CEOs, I want to also get Chief Executive Officer, founder, or any other titles, job titles that these people will use in their LinkedIn headers. So for that, I'm going to add a new. So I'm going to separate this first. We're going to use it later. So I need the information extractor node. So we just type information extractor. And so the text is going to be an expression, and it's going to be what we have in the query here. All right. And we're going to do a from attribute description. And we're going to pass it all the attributes that we want. So the first one is going to be job title. So job, let's say job underscore title. And here it's going to be the job title search for example, Chief Technical Officer, CTO, etc. So I'm just going to copy this here. So it's going to be the job title to search for, and the example that I just said. And we're going to be doing the same for the two other required attributes. So we have company type, and it's also going to be a string, and it's going to be the type of company, for example, startup, early stage. And we need the location, and it's going to be the location to search for example, France. And then the company size, and it's going to be the size of the company, for example, small or large. Industry. So all of these attributes I'm planning to add later, but I'm just going to put them right now in here. So industry is going to be the industry of the company, for example, healthcare. And lead number, which is the 3 that's coming from here, is going to be the number of leads to get. We're also going to be needing a prompt. So we're going to add a system prompt, and I have already prepared it as well. So I'm just going to delete all of this. And here's the system prompt. So you are an advanced extraction algorithm with deep knowledge of business roles, terminology, and industry dynamic. Your task is to analyze input text and extract relevant information, while also considering the broader context of potential applications of the extracted data. Your goal is to be comprehensive and inclusive in your extraction to support a wide range of business use cases. Carefully analyze the input text to extract the following details: job title, and then we have the alternatives. Guidelines for job titles include the full title, common abbreviation, and related roles that might different terminology but have similar responsibilities. So you'll find this prompt in the description as well, but you get the idea. So in the system prompt, I'm just going to copy it, I'm going to paste it, and that's it. Right, the information extractor needs, of course, a model, so we can use any of the models from here. I'm just gonna stick with OpenAI for now, but we can use literally any of them. So GPT-4o Mini is more than enough for this, and we're gonna keep it. All right, let's test it. All right, and we get the job title, and now we have a little bit more data to work with: the company type, location, and company size and industry. This is just perfect. We're gonna pin it, and what we're gonna do next is we're gonna set a campaign name for each time we do a search. So I'm gonna use this information, I'm gonna add an underscore, and I'm gonna call it the campaign name. So I'm just gonna use a set node, so this node, and I'm gonna call it set campaign. Campaign. It's gonna be a concatenation of all the outputs I'm getting from here. So it's gonna be an expression, and here we're gonna get the job title, and then underscore company title type, underscore location, and then company size, industry, and I'm not gonna take the lead number for now. All right, and this is gonna be, we're gonna add this to the database later, but it's gonna allow me to analyze and to have all my leads search saved in a more organized way. So I'm just gonna pin it, and then I'm gonna move on to the next node. And here we're gonna add a code node to generate a Google URL. So basically, to get the leads, we're gonna do a Google search. So if you go to Google and then just type sites:linkedin.com, and then if we do just this, we're gonna get in our Google search only LinkedIn data. And if we add to it more stuff, so for example CTO in here, I'm only gonna have the CTOs of companies. So basically what we're doing in this automation is automatically creating this search and passing it to the next node. So that's what we're going to do next. So for that, we're gonna use a code node using this the information extractor, create this kind of URL. For that, we're gonna look for code. Right, so I already created the code for this. I'm just gonna copy it, and then I'm gonna explain it. The goal is to create a query that's gonna be passed to the SERP API, and here it is. First, we grab what we want, what we need from the previous node. So from the information extractor node, we're gonna get the title, company type, location, etc. And we use this in case it's empty. So that's for our safety. If something is missing, we're just gonna replace it by an empty string. And then we're gonna handle the search terms in a smart way. So that's why we have this function. So this splits on or commas. Then we clean up the space with this trim function. Then we only take what we need, and I'm limiting it for 3 because sometimes the more we have, the less good search we get. And then we put it all back together in here. All right. Then we apply the processing to each category. So for the job title, the company type, etc. So we just call in this process terms. And then we construct the query that we're gonna send to the SERP API. So the base query needs the sites:linkedin.com/in, and then we add the job title query, the company type, and the location query. And we add this minus formally to exclude people who used to have these roles. Next, we manage the pagination. So SERP API maximum response per search is 100. So we're gonna use that by default. And then we clean everything up. All right. Finally, we create an array, have the perfect size request. So at least 100 search per request. That way we don't use as much of the SERP API as we can. And we're gonna output the query. So this is the query, and the number, which is gonna be the number of searches per request, and the start. So each time we do the request, we're gonna start with the 100 plus. So for example, if we get in 200 requests, the first one is gonna be from 0 to 100, and then the second one is gonna be from 101. Technically, it should be 101 till 200. All right, this is the code. Let's test it, and we have the results. So because we're only looking for just 3, it's only outputting an array of 1 element, and it starts with 0 and it's gonna end with 100. All right, let's rename this to generate Google URL. Right. All right. So since this is outputting an array, we're gonna need the loop node to go through all of the elements of the array and then call the SERP API, which we're gonna be doing next. So we're just gonna add the loop over items first, and instead of this replace me node, we're gonna call the HTTP request node. So here we're gonna call the HTTP request to call SERP. All right. So for this, we're gonna need to, if you don't have a SERP account, you can create one. So head over to SERP that's serpapi.com. SERP gives you a 100 free search per month, so you can get started with this one. It's with 100 search per month we can get 10,000 leads. So I'm just gonna sign in with my Google account. Once you sign in, you're gonna have access to you can create an API key. I already have one, so just copy your API key, and I'm gonna go to Google Search API. So this is the search we're gonna be doing, and we're gonna copy this URL and go back to the HTTP request. Let's call this SERP rec, right? And it's gonna be a get method, so we're getting information from Google, and we're gonna put the URL that we got from there, and then we're gonna be sending query params. So we need the API key, so we just copy it from where we got it earlier, and then we're gonna need the number, so it's num, and this is gonna be coming from the array we did earlier. And then we're gonna be needing the query, which is Q, and start. All right, so I'm gonna get my API key, all right, and to be able to get values, I'm just gonna test workflow, right? And now I can get the rest of the values from here. So for the num, it's gonna be here, and then the Q, which is the query, is gonna be the Q that we get from the loop over items, and then start is gonna be the start. All right, that's it. And now if I test it, I will get some data. So let's test the whole workflow again. All right, and here I get the search results from the SERP API. So we have the search information, but what we are more interested in is the organic results. And here you can see already that we have titles with the LinkedIn URLs. So let's go ahead and check the links, and we have a CEO like we had asked for in the beginning. And so yeah, so here we have 3 CEOs because that's all I asked for in the Slack message. So let's pin this and we can move on to the next step. I'm gonna add more than 3 to be able to test the workflow in a better way. So I'm just gonna unpin this. I'm gonna update here and put 300. All right, and now I'm gonna unpin everything so I can test from the beginning. All right. All right, so we can see here that it because we have 300, it should do the request 3 times, and we have here the first one with it starts with 0 and number is 100, and then the second one it starts with 100 and number is 100. So the number is always going to be 100, and here it starts with 200 and the number is 100. So that is perfect. We're getting 300 results here, but there is an issue. The problem is this loop is creating 3 different arrays, and we want to be able to go through all of them at the same time without having to do like 2 loops, one loop inside of another. So what we're gonna do is add another code node that's gonna merge all of these loops together. So that's what we're gonna do now. So I'm gonna pin everything so that I don't waste my SERP API requests. There is a field in that comes with the loop over items that allows us to know if there are no more items left. So we're gonna use that to do something after we finish from the loop. So first I'm gonna rename this to SERP pagination. All right, and I'm gonna add an if node in here to know exactly when I am done with the loop. And if I am done with the loop, I will be doing the code snippet that's gonna merge every SERP result. So the condition is gonna be if the no item is left is true. So to access it, all you have to do is open just do this, and then $, and then a parenthesis, and then you wanna open, and then N8n is gonna get you the earlier nodes that we have from earlier. So we're looking for the SERP pagination node, and So we have it here. So we're going to access the context, and then we have an array. It's called no item left. All right, and it's going to be a Boolean, and we're looking for true. So this SERP response at some point, if we're looking for, like, for example, like a 10 million leads, at some point it's gonna return nothing, and at that point we wanna exit the loop as well. So here in the search information, right now we're getting in the organic result state, we're getting results for exact spelling. We're looking for when we want to exit the loop when this is equal to fully empty. So I know that because I already tested it. But all you have to do is in the if statement add another condition, and we're gonna do an OR. So if either one of those are met, we're gonna exit the node. So we're gonna do, so this one, all you have to do is look for the search information. So it's search information dot organic result states, and we're looking if it's we're gonna exit when it's equal or it contains fully empty. All right. So yeah, so basically, as long as these conditions are not met, we're gonna stay in the loop. So we're gonna add the loop here, and if one of these is true, then we're gonna do the rest of our workflow. So, all right. Next, because the results from the SERP requests get in batches, we want to organize them all in one table. So for that, we're gonna add a code snippet. So I already created the code. I'm gonna copy it and explain it. You will find all of this in the description below, of course. All right. So we start with the main function. So this function takes LinkedIn research results and breaks it down into LinkedIn titles, and we split these into separate pieces. So we're gonna get their name, job title, and company. So this is the first part, and then we collect all of these results. And for that, we use a loop because our search results come in batches, and each batch can contain multiple profiles, and we don't know the size of the batches. So that's what's happening here is we take each profile, clean it up, and then we add it to the collection. But because sometimes we can find duplicates, that's where this code comes. So it cleans up the profiles based on the LinkedIn URL because that's unique. And then finally, we return everything into an array, which has the total profiles and then the profiles. All right, so I'm gonna rename it to a merge SERP response. All right, now let's test it. And if we open the code node, we can see here that we have the number of profiles we have and the profiles. So we have 297 profiles, so we couldn't find 300 like we asked for, but that's okay. So I'm gonna pin this and we can move on to the next step. So I'm gonna split this out using the split so that everything gets organized in an array again. So just look for split out, and that's it. And we're gonna do it based on profiles. So just drag this and let's test again. And here we go, we have it. So we have an array with name, title, link, company, snippets, and the number of followers, we can work with this. All right, so now that we have our leads, we need to store them in a database of some sort. For this, I chose to work with NocoDB. If you know already about NocoDB or have it already set up, you can just use it. If you don't, you can check out this tutorial where I deploy NocoDB on CloudStation, and you can follow along. Once you deploy it, you will find the credentials to access it in the variables. So open the variable table, and here you will have access to the admin password and the admin email, and then the URL is in the connect tab. So I already have this set up, so I'm gonna just redo it again for this tutorial. So I'm gonna go to my NocoDB instance. All right, once you're in NocoDB, just create a new base. I'm gonna call it leads, LinkedIn leads. All right. Now we're gonna create a new table. Let's call it leads. And here we're gonna add some fields that we have already, that we can already generate, that we can already get from the SERP API. So what we have is name, title, LinkedIn URL, the company, snippet, and the number of followers. So I'm gonna add those to the NocoDB table. So then I'm gonna add campaign. So it's also gonna be a single line text, and it's gonna be campaign. All right, and then we have the first name. Same thing, it's gonna be a single line text. Right, you can also create tables from this view, which is a little bit simpler. So I'm just gonna duplicate the first name, and it's gonna be the last name. The LinkedIn URL, let's add the LinkedIn URL here. And this time it's gonna be a URL. And we can do this. Then we're gonna need the company as well. We have it. So we're gonna duplicate this field, and let's do company, and it's gonna be a single line text. And then we have followers. We can leave it single line text as well. And I think we are good to go. I'm just gonna make this title into a small title, just to match the rest. All right, now that we have our table ready, we can start filling it up with the split out items that we get here. So before we do that, I don't want to enter this. So for this we need to create a loop. So it's like we did earlier. We need to create a loop over item. And here, so what we want is for each item of the LinkedIn profiles we found, we need to add it to our NocoDB instance. So before we do that, I only want to get inside this loop if the total search we get from here, the total profiles is more than 0. So I'm gonna use this. And before the loop, we're gonna add an if statement again. All right, and this time, what we want to do is get the total profiles from the merge response. So all you have to do is click on it, and that's it. And we want to only do the loop if it's greater than 0. So it's greater than 0. All right, so because we have elements, we're gonna go inside. All right, if it's not, then we're just gonna do nothing. So here, just look for nothing, and yeah, so that's it. We're gonna get out of the loop and do nothing. Okay, now for the loop. Before adding any data to our NocoDB, we want to check if the profile already exists, because we don't want to just add it if it already exists. So for that, we're going to add a NocoDB node. And this one is going to be a get many rows. And I'm going to remove the replace me node. So here we need to create the credentials. So to do so, all you have to do is get the host, which is going to be what's your NocoDB instance URL. All right, and put it here. And for the token, all you have to do is go to the setting, account setting, and then tokens, and you can add a new token. So gonna call it legion and copy the token and go back to N8n and paste it. I'm gonna call this. All right, and it's successful. So now we want to do a get many from the workspace. So we don't have to choose any workspace. And then here we have the campaigns. So the database I created earlier was LinkedIn leads. So we have to choose it. And then find the table, which is leads. All right. Next, I wanna add a filter by. So I'm looking for, so it's gonna be an expression and it's gonna be, so we're looking for the link. So if the LinkedIn URL exists or is the same as we have in the LinkedIn loop, then we will not add it to our table. So I'm gonna go back to my table and this is what I'm looking for. So the LinkedIn URL, just it should be exactly what you put here. So I'm gonna copy it from here just to be sure. So we want the LinkedIn URL to equal so JSON that it's gonna be that link. When we'll test it, it's gonna show up. All right. So if it's there, we're gonna add a check to not re-add it to our LinkedIn to our table. So for now, let's test it. All right, and we're gonna update. I always want to output some data just so I can use this. So it returns empty. That's normal because we don't have this in our database. Right, so if we're gonna add an if, so if lead exists, it's gonna be, we're gonna name it to lead list. Right, and all right, so to check if the lead exists, for now I'm just gonna put here an expression and it's gonna be JSON, and let's say is not empty. All right, if it's not empty, that means the lead already exists. If the lead already exists, then we're gonna just go back and finish the loop. So we're gonna remove that one, and in here we're gonna go back into the loop. If the lead does not exist, then we're gonna set it so that we can send it to the NocoDB. So here we're gonna add set, and we're gonna call it set leads, and we're gonna start creating all the fields that we have that we're gonna send to NocoDB. Okay, so at this instance we only have the name, we don't have the first name or the last name. So I'm gonna go back to leads and I'm gonna add it here. So instead of first name and last name, for now it's gonna be name. And the first name and last name we're gonna add them later in the second workflow we're gonna create. That's gonna get the data from LinkedIn. So right now we're gonna just set name equals to, it's gonna be a string and it's gonna be whatever comes from the loop over item. So whenever you want to access a previous node, you just put this and then a $sign and then a parenthesis and then the name of the node. So in my case, I want to access loop over items. I could have renamed it, but for now I didn't. And then I want the item that JSON that name. Okay. All right, and we have it here. All right, so we're gonna do the same for all of them. So we have title, and then I'm just gonna copy all of this and make sure you choose expression here. And here, instead of name, we need the title. Same for the LinkedIn URL. Expression, and here the name is link, not LinkedIn URL. So if you go back here, you will see that we have link, and then we have company. So I'm going to copy it our company and company, right? And the same for followers. And lastly, the campaign, which is going to be coming from the set campaign node. Campaign, and here again expression, and it's in the set campaign, and then that item dot JSON and campaign. All right, and that's it. And we have everything except campaign. So I'm gonna need to redo the whole workflow to get it. Okay, and now we have the campaign. Okay, I'm gonna pin this, and it's gonna be our first NocoDB tests to create the lead. So here we need another NocoDB node. This time it's gonna be a create row. We're gonna use the token we just created, and we need the same LinkedIn URL that we did earlier, and table is gonna be leads, and I'm just gonna do the auto map. That's why I did everything in the set lead. That way it's gonna auto map it and do it on its own. Let's do that. All right, and now if I go back to my lead table, I have my first lead generated in NocoDB. All right, now we know it works for one lead, and if I want to add all of the rest to my NocoDB instance, we need to fix the loop. So right now the loop exits at the first instance. That's because we don't actually connect it to the loop over items. So for that, all you need to do is reconnect it to the loop over items. And now if I run it, it's gonna add all of the items to my NocoDB instance. Before I do that, I'm gonna add another set field here. And this one is going to be what we're going to send to our AI agent. So we're going to call it AI response. And here we can give it any information we want. The AI is going to use it to respond to us. So for now, all I want it to do is, so actually this is our first AI response that we have here. So I'm going to delete it from here. And now we need to always have this. So it's always response, and then we can set whatever we want. For now, I just want to send the campaign that's gonna be created. So we're gonna use the set campaign node, and I'm gonna say is added to the database, and then the number of leads. Number of leads is gonna be the total that we found earlier in the merge SERP response. So we have here total profiles. So we have the exact number of profiles that will be sent. All right, so now if I test everything, we can see here that it keeps looping and adding our leads to NocoDB. If I go back to NocoDB and refresh, we have now, okay, we have an issue here. We keep repeating the same user, so I'm gonna stop it and check what went wrong. All right, so the issue is that I actually pinned this. So I'm gonna test it again and see what happens. All right, so now the new ones are coming correctly. So I'm gonna stop it and I'm gonna delete everything and start over. Click here and delete. Okay, so now let me start the workflow again. Okay, and now we have the right titles, the companies, the followers of each lead, and we're gonna get our 297 leads in no time. All right, so now that it's done, let's go back and check our leads in NocoDB. Okay, so I have 3 pages. Each page has 100 results, and we can see here that we have 297 LinkedIn leads. Okay, so there is one thing that we need to fix here. Right now, this AI response is being called each time for each lead. So we only need one response. So we're gonna do execute once in here. And that's it. It's done. Now, if we go back to Slack and do the actual test, let's do just 2 because I don't wanna wait for half an hour. Or let's do 10, okay. Let's do CMOs in Dallas. Okay, we have apparently an issue. Let's go back to the AI agent execution to see what happened. Okay, so the issue is the response. If I go back to the LinkedIn tool execution, I'm gonna see if I misspelled the response, because we do have the leads that were generated. And yes, I did misspell the response. There's a P missing here. So I'm just gonna copy this. And here, response, let's test the step. And we can do it again. So let's do get me just 2 CEOs in Paris. Alright, I found 2 CTOs in Paris, and let's go check our database. And in the campaign here, we can see what we got. So I can see here that we have CTO. I'm just checking the number of leads. So I'm gonna go back to the AI, the LinkedIn tool, and see exactly what happened, how many CTOs it got. So yeah, we have the first CTO and the second CTO. So yeah, it works. We have the leads that we were looking for, and the AI did respond with the campaign. Okay, so just one more thing I'm gonna do is to be able to find the campaigns more easily. I'm just gonna add a group by campaign. That way I know exactly each campaign and what it did. So here, the last campaign I did with the Slack message, and I got the name, the followers, the company, and the title. So here we have it. Our AI agent is actually getting us our leads, any number of leads that we were looking for, and is storing them in our database in an organized manner. Next step is going to be scrap all of these LinkedIn URLs that we have and enrich these leads so that we have all the information. So apart from the first name and the last name, we're going to have the campaign, the company, the website URL, and the emails, so that we can actually send the personalized emails to these leads.
So now we've got our bot finding leads for us. But here's the thing. Sending cold emails with just basic information doesn't work anymore. You need to know who those people really are, what their company does, what they care about, and dozens of other details that make your message stand out in a crowded inbox. Next video, we're going to teach our bot how to read LinkedIn profiles, every single detail, automatically. That way, when you reach out, you'll actually have something meaningful to say. And hey, if you haven't built your AI agent yet, start with part 1. You need it to make this work. See you in part 3.